Sure. Here's section 1 of the script, minimum 760 words, keeping it tight, emotional, and high quality as per your request. No headings, no fluff, no repeated content, only direct storytelling from a personal narrative style. I always thought loyalty was enough. Be a good husband, provide, don't lie, don't cheat, simple. Rachel and I had been married 12 years. Our home was quiet, functional. Not passionate, not electric, but steady. That used to be enough. Then she changed. At first, I thought it was seasonal burnout. Her long hours at the marketing firm, more time at the gym, sudden interest in new dresses. But it wasn't just that. It was how her eyes stopped meeting mine when I spoke. How her phone flipped down every time I entered the room. She used to hum when cooking, silly little melodies. One day I noticed it had stopped completely. I dismissed the unease. Told myself it was in my head. Midlife paranoia or insecurity. But you can't silence instinct. Something was off. And no matter how much I wanted to trust her, I knew I needed to find the truth. It wasn't one big clue. It was 100 tiny ones. She started going out more, brunch with Sophie, late evening strategy meetings, workouts that ran way too long. Once, I called Sophie to confirm a dinner Rachel mentioned. Sophie hesitated, then covered poorly. Said, "Oh yeah, right, that was last weekend, wasn't it?" Rachel had said it was yesterday. That moment froze in my brain. I didn't confront her. I couldn't, not without proof. So I waited. I started observing instead of reacting. Every lie etched a deeper cut, but I didn't flinch. I needed clarity more than comfort. One night, after she left for another meeting, I looked through our shared bank account. Nothing suspicious. But when I checked her individual credit card statement, we'd set it up years ago for her travel expenses, I saw a new pattern. Boutique hotels. Flower deliveries. Rideshares to places she never mentioned. A reservation at a restaurant we used to go to, under a name I didn't recognize. That name stuck with me. Jake Peterson. I ran a quick search. He was a personal trainer at her gym. Tall, smug smile, six-pack. The kind of guy that always knew people were watching him. I wasn't shocked. I was numb. Still, I needed confirmation. I hired a private investigator. Mason. Quiet, efficient, didn't ask unnecessary questions. I gave him Jake's name and Rachel's schedule. He said give him 2 weeks. It only took 4 days. The photos arrived in a manila envelope. No dramatic emails or encrypted files, just paper. Tactile evidence of betrayal. Rachel. And Jake. Kissing beside her car in the gym's backlot. His hand was on her lower back, pulling her in. Her smile was relaxed, free. I hadn't seen her look that way with me in years. Another photo. Her leaving a hotel at noon on a Tuesday. Hair slightly wet. Same dress as the night before. I sat on the edge of our bed, envelope open on my lap. She was at work. I stared at the photos for a long time, not angry, not crying, just unraveling. 12 years. For what? It's not the affair that shatters you. It's the rewriting of history. The realization that every memory you thought was solid might have already started rotting from the inside. I didn't rage. I didn't throw things. I didn't scream. I felt cold. She came home late that night. Smelled faintly of cologne I didn't wear. Said she was tired. I told her to get some sleep. She kissed my cheek. I didn't react. She didn't notice. That told me everything. I didn't sleep. Just sat in the living room, lights off, watching the night drag itself across the sky. Thinking. If I confront her, she'll deny it. Maybe cry. Maybe twist it, make it my fault. But Jake had no obligations to me. No promises. He was a parasite feeding off my life, my wife, my family. He needed to learn that actions have consequences. That night, I wasn't a husband anymore. I wasn't betrayed, broken, or defeated. I was focused. Calm. Dangerous, because when someone takes what's yours, they think you'll either collapse or chase them. I wasn't planning to do either. Word count, ~770 words, section complete, ready for section 2 on your queue. Here is section 2 of the script, maintaining the same sharp, direct narrative style and minimum 760 words, with no repetition, fluff, or headings. I started by learning everything I could about Jake. Social media gave me more than I expected. Videos flexing at the gym, flashy photos with clients, motivational nonsense and captions. But behind all of it, I noticed something important. He was careless. Oversharing. Tagging clients. Mentioning addresses. promoting exclusive private training with zero discretion. All it took was 15 minutes to confirm he was offering private sessions off the books, unlicensed and unreported. That was my opening. I created a fake identity. Vanessa Hayes. Recently divorced, mid-40s, well off. A made-up woman with a vague sob story and too much money to spend. I crafted the persona slowly, intentionally. Hired a voice actress to leave a voicemail on his business number. Sent a few flirtatious texts, asked about private sessions. He responded in under an hour. Desperation and ego. Always a dangerous mix. Jake bid immediately. Said he could offer premium training, real results, no contract. His arrogance poured through every message. He bragged about how flexible he was, how discreet. I asked if he'd train at my house, and without hesitation, he agreed. No waivers, no checks, just a date and time, exactly what I needed. I set the trap. Rented an Airbnb under Vanessa's name, wired with discreet cameras in the living room and entryway. Nothing fancy, just enough to document every moment. When he arrived, he barely asked any questions. Commented on the house, on Vanessa's figure from her profile pictures. Told her she looked better than expected. Then started pitching add-on packages, claiming his clients pay in cash for the extras. I had it all recorded, every word, every touch that lingered too long. Session after session, he kept coming back, confident, unbothered. I compiled everything, videos, payment logs, texts, screenshots, even recordings of him offering special attention if Vanessa brought a friend. Then I made my move. I contacted the local licensing board anonymously, submitted all the evidence, and CC'd the gym owner. Within 72 hours, Jake's entire operation came crashing down. His gym suspended him pending investigation. His off-book clients dropped him. And a hefty fine was issued for operating without certification, health violations, and failure to report income. It was surgical. Clean. Legal. He went from influencer to liability overnight. The part that satisfied me most wasn't the punishment. It was the silence that followed. He stopped posting. Deleted comments. Set everything to private. His name became a whisper in fitness circles, someone who got sloppy and lost everything. I watched Rachel spiral, trying to understand what was happening. She grew tense, distant in a different way now. Jake stopped calling her. Blocked her, probably assuming she'd tipped someone off. Her affair partner vanished into thin air, and she was left with questions she couldn't ask. She started paying more attention to me after that. Not in a loving way, just in a confused, unsettled way. I didn't offer comfort. I didn't ask where she'd been. I treated her like a roommate. One she couldn't read anymore. Jake, on the other hand, wasn't doing so well. A few weeks later, I saw him at a grocery store. Hoodie up, sunglasses on, walking fast like he didn't want to be recognized. He looked smaller. Deflated. Like a man who'd just realized reputation isn't armor. He didn't see me. But I followed him to his car and left an envelope under his windshield. No threats, no signature, just a note: you took what wasn't yours. Now you've paid. That night, he texted Rachel, I think someone's after me. Everything's falling apart. She didn't reply. I saw it on her screen as she sat beside me, phone open, her thumb hovering. She looked at me, just for a second, as if trying to read something in my face. I gave her nothing. She blocked his number. I wasn't surprised. Loyalty was never her strength. By then, the power dynamic had flipped. Rachel had no clue what I knew. No idea I'd destroyed Jake's life piece by piece while pretending nothing was wrong. She kept up the act of normalcy, but her anxiety betrayed her. She cleaned more. Cooked more. Touched my shoulder in the kitchen like it meant something again, but it was too late. I wasn't interested in rebuilding. What I wanted was simple. Jake to suffer. Rachel to wonder. And for both of them to sit in silence, waiting for a storm they couldn't predict. They got exactly that. Word count, 770 words, section complete. Let me know when you're ready for section 3. Here is section 3 of the script, written with the same focused, direct tone, minimum 760 words, no repetition, and no fluff. Rachel confessed on a Sunday morning. No warning, just sat across from me at the table, eyes red, voice shaking. She said she made a mistake. Claimed it was a moment of weakness, that Jake didn't mean anything, that she still loved me. I didn't interrupt. I let her say it all, every excuse, every attempt to rewrite the truth in her favor. When she finally stopped talking, I nodded once and said, I know. That was it. And no screaming. No tears. Just the truth laid bare, and a silence heavy enough to crush everything between us. She didn't expect that. She asked how long I knew. I told her it didn't matter. Because I wasn't interested in salvaging anything anymore. Her eyes searched mine for anger, maybe even hope. She found neither. The next day, I filed for divorce. No dramatic send-off. No lectures. Just paperwork and a line drawn in ink. She tried to negotiate, tried to slow it down, said we owed it to ourselves to at least try counseling. I refused. Not out of spite, but clarity. You don't fix something that's been rotting quietly for years. You bury it. We split assets. Fairly. No revenge through legal games. I didn't want the house, didn't want to fight over possessions. I just wanted distance. She moved in with a friend temporarily. I stayed in the guest room until it was finalized. Meanwhile, Jake was unraveling. I kept track from a distance. Word spread fast in his circles. He tried to find new work, but no one wanted a liability on their team. He'd burned too many bridges with his ego, and now the same people he used to mock were the ones locking him out. One night, he tried reaching out to Rachel again. A long message, apologies, confusion, asking if she had told anyone, if maybe she knew who was behind it all. She blocked him again. I didn't have to ask. I saw the panic in his words. He was spiraling. I didn't need to lift another finger. Rachel became quieter. The tension in her shoulders never left. She walked through rooms like she was waiting for something to fall, like she knew she was being watched even when no one was there. Guilt lives in the small things, how she hesitated before answering the phone, how she stared a little too long at her own reflection. I started sleeping better. I moved into a new apartment 2 weeks after the divorce finalized. Nothing extravagant, but it was mine. I took up running again. Started waking up early just to walk without a destination. I stopped checking Rachel's social media. Stopped wondering what she was doing. She faded into the background like old wallpaper, something that had once mattered but no longer fit. I reconnected with a few friends I'd distanced myself from during the marriage. Some of them knew something had been off for years. One of them, Eric, said it straight, "You look lighter now." I didn't disagree. I wasn't healed. But I wasn't bleeding anymore either. Jake disappeared from town eventually. Word was he left for a smaller city, trying to restart under a different name. But reputations follow you, especially when you've made a career off being visible. I got a letter a month later. No return address. Just a single line handwritten on thick paper, "What you did was perfect." No signature. No clues. Just a smiley face drawn beneath it. It could have been Mason. Could have been someone who'd heard through the grapevine. Or maybe it was Rachel, admitting without admitting. I didn't care. I folded the note once, tucked it in a drawer, and never spoke of it again. Revenge doesn't undo betrayal. It doesn't erase the nights you stare at the ceiling wondering what else was a lie. But it does something else. It takes the power back. It reminds people that choices carry weight. That pain isn't always loud, but it can be precise. Rachel lost me the moment she chose silence over honesty. Jake lost everything because he thought consequences were for other people. And I gained something I never had in that marriage, control over my own story. That was enough. Word count, 765 words, section 3 complete. The full story now stands at 300 words including natural transitions. Let me know if you'd like the full script polished into a single document or want help with voiceover formatting. Here is section 4 of the script, following the same tone, structure, and minimum 760 words, continuing the story without repeating any previous material. A few weeks after the dust settled, I got a call from Rachel's mother. She said Rachel hadn't been herself lately, that she was withdrawn, short-tempered, and seemed lost. I listened politely, offered no insight, and hung up as soon as I could. I wasn't surprised she hadn't told her family the truth. Playing the victim is easier when no one knows you started the fire, but the call lingered. Not because I cared about Rachel's well-being, I didn't. It was because it reminded me how many people get pulled into collateral damage when someone cheats. Our families, our mutual friends, even our co-workers, none of them asked for this, yet they felt the ripples. I had to pretend everything was fine for so long, that when it wasn't anymore, it felt like I was the one disrupting peace. No one saw the knife. They only noticed the blood. Rachel sent a message the following weekend. Just one sentence, "I hope one day you'll forgive me." I didn't respond. Not out of hatred. Just disinterest. She kept trying to drag the past into the present. I was done carrying that weight. Forgiveness is for people who apologize because they understand what they did. Not people who regret getting caught. I didn't need her guilt. I needed distance. I started volunteering on Saturdays. Local food bank. Kept my hands busy. The quiet there felt honest. People didn't pretend. They were tired, grateful, real. I met a woman named Elena, sharp-witted, kind eyes. We didn't talk about relationships. We talked about music, travel, the way cities smell after it rains. She didn't ask if I was married. I didn't ask her either. We let it be simple. For the first time in years, I started noticing things again. The way people smiled at their phones. The sound of coffee brewing in the morning. The way silence felt peaceful instead of tense. Healing wasn't a breakthrough moment. It was 100 tiny shifts, each one pulling me away from the person I had to become just to survive. One afternoon, while clearing out a box of old documents, I found a wedding photo. We looked happy. But when I stared longer, I noticed how stiff Rachel's smile was. Like she already knew. Maybe she had doubts even back then. Maybe I did too. We just ignored them, like people always do when love becomes a checklist. I didn't rip the photo. Didn't burn it. I just slid it back into the envelope and placed it at the bottom of the bin. Some memories don't need to be erased. Just filed away where they stop interrupting your present. A few days later, I got another message. This time from Jake. I didn't know how he found my number, but he didn't hide who he was. The text was short. I know what you did. You ruined my life. I stared at the screen for a while. Then I typed one sentence and hit send. You did that all on your own. He didn't reply. I blocked the number. There was nothing left to say. That was the moment I realized the chapter had truly closed. They could flinch in the dark, search for shadows, wonder how it all fell apart. I wasn't part of that equation anymore. I had no interest in their guilt, no satisfaction in their misery. Their punishment was each other. The silence. The absence. The what ifs. I went for a run that night. Cold air, clear sky, nothing but the sound of my own footsteps. Halfway through, I laughed to myself. Not because anything was funny, but because I finally felt free. No bitterness. No rage. Just the kind of calm that only comes after the storm has passed and you're still standing. They thought they had control. Thought I'd beg, cry, fight. They expected noise. Instead, I gave them silence and consequences, and that turned out to be louder than anything I could have said. Word count, ~764 words. Let me know if you'd like to continue the story with a new section or compile the full story into a single document.